We all know that the world's population today exceeds 7 billion people. This is unprecedented. Never before in human history has there been 7 billion people alive at the same time.
The only problem we should all be thinking about in the 21st century is about cities, because that's where we are and that's dominating everything we're doing. And any city that you live in, if anyone lives anywhere on this planet, they will be affected by this, whether they like it or not. And in particular, Singapore, because it depends entirely upon its global interactions, will be particularly sensitive to this.
The fate of the planet is equal to the fate of the cities.
There's a famous George Carlin routine where he says, don't worry about saving the Earth. The Earth will get rid of us if it chooses to. Okay? If we don't live sustainably on it, it'll get rid of us.
Here's a real opportunity for cities to shine, and it's going to require innovation, it's going to require money, it's going to require different methods of modes of governance, but it's a huge opportunity. It's not a sort of disaster.
And if you look at these outliers, Singapore, Japan, Switzerland, by cutting back the energy use, being more efficient in using your energy actually doesn't make you poorer, it makes you richer.
Singapore is well placed to serve as a living laboratory for companies and research organizations to develop solutions for environmental sustainability in a high-density urban setting. To promote this, the government is building infrastructure to support such entities.
One of our visions for Singapore is for Singapore to be a working model of the future. Since the future is going to be primarily about cities, and since the future is going to consist of the challenge of changing our way of life and our livelihoods to deal with environmental and social changes, the experiments, the pilot projects, the national projects that we embark on Singapore, I believe will have relevance to other parts of the world.
3 thoughts: differentiate hardware, software, core and non-core. Handle the hardware, software differently and intelligently, and add system design as part of innovation and technology.
You need different solutions for different spaces, and we need to sort of look at it in a holistic manner to see what fits where.
We also need to pay greater attention to working together. I repeat, together, across our respective disciplines, countries, as the next big scientific breakthroughs is almost certain to be found in the interstices between disciplines and cultures.
So certainly for Singapore, as we mature, there's a need for a stronger role for the private sector and a stronger role for the people sector. How we are going to achieve that, that's a kind of transitional issues that we are now all grappling with.
We mostly fail, not because of the lack of technical potential, but because of the hesitation in implementing creative and unconventional changes.
I think air and water are critical. Water for peace, international conflict, population growth, economics, and air quality for development. We have 400 years of successfully innovating in a big way and creating stocks and wheat, and we can do this all if we take a look at pricing externalities. We standardize, we create evidence of ownership, we have big reduction targets, and we think big about the problem.
Right pricing of the water is the best instrument to dampen demand for water. All other measures can be there, but nothing beats a correct pricing of water itself.
Environmental problems are economic problems.
We have to couple our thinking when it comes to the investment decision and the impact of the investments.
Subsidies may have a role. It may be perfectly legitimate to make a transfer to someone or some group or some class or to all of society. But just like any other policy instrument, you need to test it and justify whether it is effective and whether it is efficient in reaching the goal.
Governments still have it within their power to change business behaviour far more than any set of voluntary mechanisms can possibly do.
Technology is not the problem. There's plenty of technology already being developed. Lots is out there, should be implemented, and the breakpoints are very much in the business models and the policy regimes.
Good environmental policy needs to address and to deal with such externalities, but it is also important to use the right judicious mix of regulation and incentives.
My third point is that what is missing is leadership. Business as usual is not viable.